Hello. So recently, I started doing some wildlife photography and videography. And to do that, if you watched the camera video from 2 videos ago, you would realize that none of those cameras would be great for that. So I borrowed my dad's Nikon D7100. And for photos, it doesn't look too bad. Here, I'll show you some. Personally, I think these images look okay. And any deficiencies in the image, they have more to do with me than the camera. I think the camera did a good job. Yeah, that's. I'll just show you these three. That's good enough. Anyway, moving on. Now for video, it's not great. Now it is 1080p at least, and it goes up to 30 FPS, which is fine. Can't do slow-mo, of course. It's not super sharp. The real issue is that the stabilization is terrible. It doesn't have IBIS, which is like inbuilt image stabilization, or no, in-body image stabilization. That's what it means. So it doesn't have that. The lens does have stabilization. It seems to work okay in photos, or maybe that's just the shutter speeds I'm using. I don't know. The photos seem okay, but for video, it's very shaky. So that means I need to use stabilization software to stabilize it. Now, there's not a lot of free options. The only good one that I could find is like the one that's built into DaVinci Resolve. It doesn't have all of the options. I think the speed warp option's missing. You gotta pay for that one. But I was able to get like reasonable results. There's a little like warping going on, but it looks okay. Here, I'll show you my results in a second actually. What I'm gonna show you is the video, the original video, no stave. Then I'll show you the Resolve video, and then I'll show you what it looks like with Topaz Video AI. So that's something that's paid, it's not free, but I saw so many videos of it where like it looked really good, so I was like, I'll try it. Now I'm using the demo version because I don't want to pay 300 just to try it. So you're gonna see like a giant ugly watermark right in the middle, which is usually where the animal is. So this test is kind of useless, but even through the watermark, you can kind of tell that like sometimes it does quite a bit better, sometimes it doesn't do great. This is the first one, pretty shaky as you can see. So this is what it looks like with DaVinci Resolve stabilization. Pretty good. There's some warping. You can see that it cropped in, but overall, good. And finally, Topaz. This one I didn't even need to crop in, and it looks way better. So here's another clip. This one might be shakier than the last one. We'll see how Resolve and Topaz do. So here it is in Resolve. I think it looks less warpy than the last one. This is a good result in my opinion, given the original footage. So here in Topaz, I think this looks better, but the flickering is pretty bad. I think that's from the watermark though. So another thing that I noticed while watching that video with the squirrel is I forgot to mention that I also upscaled to 4K 60 FPS from 1080p 24 FPS. And the interpolation from 24 to 60, the motion of that squirrel looks a little weird in that clip if you go back and look at it, but the bird looked okay. And you'll see in the next clip, it's gonna look absolutely terrible. And finally, the last clip. This one is shaky, but the issue is the water moving makes stabilizing it really hard, as you'll see with both Topaz and DaVinci. So here it is in Resolve. I think it's pretty good. There's a little bit of shakiness. My friend said it looks like there's like an earthquake, but the ducks seem calm. But it's so much better than I was before the stabilization. So here's Topaz. You can see the interpolation to 60 FPS really messed up the water. It kind of looks cool. It kind of looks like a water painting, but you might not like that. So this time I removed the 60 FPS. I also just left it at 1080p because 4K takes too long to render. It looks way better. So with Topaz, there's a lot of different things you can change. You can change the AI model for different things, for like the stabilization, for the upscaling. There's a bunch of sliders. So maybe you could get this footage to look even better. But I think for me, what I've decided is it doesn't make sense for me to pay for it. I'd be much better off with a camera upgrade. It doesn't make sense for me to pay for Resolve yet either. The free version's good enough. So yeah, it was a fun experiment. Probably try it again with more interesting clips in the future, especially for the frame interpolation stuff. The fun thing about that is you can get like slow motion video. So what I've decided from now on is usually I film in 1080p 24 FPS on that camera, I'm gonna start doing 30 FPS, which is the max on that, because when I slow that down, if I make that 60 FPS, then try to slow it down, it'll work better than if I started at 24 FPS. So I'm gonna try that. And I'll try, none of these clips had a lot of action, so slow-mo didn't make sense. I'll try to get like a more interesting shot, get some slow-mo, include it in some other video. Anyway, thanks, bye.